Hi. Sorry, I'm running a little bit behind. I didn't have my little time to get a beverage warning come up. So if you need to go get a beverage, go get a beverage. I'm going to link a quick slideshow here so that I can show it to you guys. But hey, welcome to the weekly live stream, everybody. I'm so excited to see you. I hope that you've had a good week. Give me 1 second here while I am, oh my gosh. Why is this so hard to find? Nope, that's not it. Hello, hi, Oz. Hey, Bill. It's so good to see you guys. So real quick, I do have a couple of things I want to share as soon as, where is my, oh my gosh. Is this it? No? Shit. I can't find the slides. Damn it. Shit. Let me see where I've saved them. You know what? Here's what we're going to do. We are going to save it to this PC to, oh God. I'm like freaking out because I have apparently forgotten how to computer. So, oh, you guys, it's been such a week. Let me quiet down my my Facebook too. Earmuffs kids. Yeah. Hey, Seth. Good to see you. Yeah, you guys, this has been a like busy week. Things are really starting to amp up from just getting ready to leave and desktop, and there it is. Okay. Open. Oh my God, it won't let me open it. What the hell? You guys, I am failing like miserably. Let's try this one more time. Okay, it's coming. Cool. So now that I have my slides loading, I can talk to you guys about all the things I want to talk to you about. Oh, thank you so much for bearing with me. I hope that you guys have had a great week. Let's see, what should we talk about first? Let's talk about writing. This week was actually a really good week for me on the writing front. My writing days, in case you don't know, so what I'm doing is I'm doing a what's called a DoD, or what's called a SkillBridge internship. So SkillBridge is a DoD program. So, and hi, I'm so glad you made it. Yeah, Gremlins, that's right, Oz, absolutely. SkillBridge is a DoD program that was designed for transitioning service members like yours truly to assist with moving from being full-time active duty to working in the private sector. And so it's a mechanism that allows for transitioning service members during the last 6 months of their active duty time to do an unpaid internship or like a training program or something like that, where they work with a company in the private sector or corporate sector or whatever. And I don't think you can do it with like government entities, but I may be wrong about that. So if you know differently, chime in the chat. Yeah, Jim says it's an interesting program. Glad it's working for me. It is working really well for me, because what I was able to do is I was able to work with Chris Kennedy of Chris Kennedy Publishing, one of my publishers, and we set up kind of custom built a writing internship for me. So this is a brand new property, and you guys have heard me talking about it before, but it's a space opera, which I haven't done before, and I haven't. And so I'm developing a brand new property, for Chris to submit to Chris as part of this internship. And his requirement is not to necessarily publish it. There's no guarantee that he will if it doesn't meet his standards or it's not right for his readership. He may not. But what he is committed to doing per the terms of the internship is giving me feedback on it and kind of, helping me become a better writer in that way. So I hope he likes it. I hope he decides to publish it, but he's under no obligation to do so. So because of that, and because of the way that we structured this, and I am doing that 3 days a week. And we did it that way in part so that I could continue flying, so that I can have some recency for when I, for, if I'm looking towards getting a flying job on the outside. And also because my commander kind of preferred it that way, since it's ultimately his decision, my commander's decision as to, whether or not to approve this program. He liked the option of having me write part-time and then, still be able to fly, still get my recency and my currency in order to be marketable in the flying world. So, okay. This is very interesting. I don't know if you guys can see this, but yeah, we're just going to go ahead and block you. So, and delete that comment. But I'm glad your herpes cure was working for you, random internet bot. So, I guess the word's getting out, guys. I guess that's good news. Yeah, so this week, so I'm writing on full-time on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, and I apologize if you know this. I just, want to make sure that everyone has context for what I'm talking about. And so this week, so my goal is to write 3,000 words every day of my writing days. So, and I actually met that goal all 3 days this week. So congratulations to me. I'm very excited about it. And to be honest, I've been doing a fairly good job. There's only been a couple days when I missed that goal, and most of the time it was because there was other stuff going on. So, but yeah, this week, meeting that goal. That's right. What's up? So, this week meeting that goal meant that I broke 50,000 words in the manuscript, which is great because I'm just shy of the halfway point. So I'm on pace, the halfway point of the story arc. So I am on pace to write, about 100,000 words worth of a novel, which is kind of what I was shooting for. And I'm really enjoying working in the space opera milieu because it kind of is the best of both worlds as far as I'm concerned. I'm able to kind of get as science fiction-y as I want and get as much into the science as I want. But because it's space opera, it's a little bit more forgiving than hard sci-fi if I don't actually dig in and, essentially invent a system for faster than light travel or whatever. So I haven't seen Jamie pop up in the chat yet, but Jamie Ibsen, who comes and hangs out with us a lot, he's another author who publishes with CKP, and he's the editor of the really, really fantastic We Dare series of anthologies, which you should totally go check out if you haven't yet. I think the fourth one is coming out soon. I think it comes out in June. If someone knows, please chime in the chat. But yeah, it's chef's kiss good, guys. Anyway, Jamie actually came up with the faster than light travel system that I'm using in this series. And so we were talking about it, and I was bitching about not being able, I'm like, I don't know how you do it. You just do it. You go. May 6th. Thanks, Bill. May 6th is when We Dare 4 comes out. And I'll put it in my newsletter, and I'll, talk about it in live streams coming up to that too. So, but you guys are not going to want to miss that one. It's a really great series. But yeah, so Jamie and I are having this conversation, and I'm just bitching about it. And he's like, well, this is what I came up with for my Myrmidian series. And Jamie's here. Yay. Were your ears burning, bud? So I'm about to tell them about the Russell Drive. Yeah, there's a little bit of that, Beth. But it's also like, you can use hand wavium for sure, but it feels more authentic if you actually figure out some of the things, right? Like you kind of, it's, I think of it like in driving a car. All right. You may not have a really, you may not be an auto mechanic. You may not have a really tight, intimate understanding of how all of the parts of your internal combustion engine work together, but you sort of have a basic understanding, right? That's what the characters in a space opera sort of know, right? They kind of know, okay, yeah, a larger block engine means it's going to use more fuel, but it's also going to have more power. How does that, what's the equivalent? The exchange rate put me a few minutes behind. That's a good one, my friend. So hashtag crypto. Okay, never mind. Yeah. So anyway, my point is, I wanted to have something figured out. And Jamie had this brilliant idea that includes a little hand wavium for sure. But he was explaining it to me and I was like, hey man, like we're friends, right? Like you want to let me like just steal that and I'll name it after you. And he was like, okay, Casey, you can use my system and you can name it after me. So that's why I have the Russell drive in my space operas, because that's the name that Jamie gave me to use. So hey Chuck, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming to the live stream. So wow, we got like 14 people. That's awesome. It's like a party in here. I love it. Thank you guys so much for coming. It really does make my week to be able to sit and hang out with you guys and talk about stuff. So the space opera is going very well. I'm really enjoying these characters. They do seem to be characters who kind of have a mind of their own a little bit, which is a good thing, although it can be kind of frustrating in the moment when you like want them to do one thing and they're like, no, I want to do this thing. And, the story's going to be better if you let me do this thing. So, so kind of trying to work out how, trying to walk the balance between my very strong-willed characters who are, to be fair, just a figment of my own strong imagination and my strong will. It's fun. It's fun. Not the Ibsen drive. He told me to use Russell. So that's what I'm using. So Ibsen would feel a bit obvious. See, master of subtlety there. So yeah. So that's what's going on the writing front. And then Thursday was my fly day. Excuse me, pardon me. A little caffeine break. Not sponsored. This is not a product placement. Let me move my hand over. I should be sponsored by Red Bull, you guys. Can you imagine how awesome that would be? That'd be amazing. But yeah, Thursday was my fly day. Unfortunately, I am not a bot. Welcome. We're glad you're here, Nick. So Thursday was my fly day, but I didn't actually get to fly, unfortunately, because the you guys, I am not going to get to. I love all of your comments. They're so funny. I should just like flash up comments the whole time. But Thursday I didn't get to fly because the weather wasn't. It was fine here, but it wasn't good at our destination, and so we had to let our customer know that, and the customer, opted to take ground transportation instead. And then there was a training line that was a pretty high priority that needed our aircraft, so we just gave them the aircraft, and I didn't fly on Thursday. I just did like admin work and prep work for this massive move to the United States that we're contemplating, or as I like to say, staring down both barrels of, because yeah, it's a lot happening. So, just trying to get like housing inspection done and for base housing so that, I can check out of base housing when it's time, and trying to get all of the logistics lined up for having my household goods picked up and having them, getting them shipped to the United States. And how long is that going to take? And when is my house going to be done in the United States and stuff? So I did get a little bit of correspondence with the like my realtor and the construction company. They actually have been really good. We get like weekly email updates from the construction manager about where they're at in the process. And so it's kind of exciting. My house, as she said, trades are in, which I had to have explained to me. But basically that means like, the plumbing and electrical and HVAC and all that kind of stuff is they're in putting that stuff in right now. And in fact, they should have finished, tonight, US time. She was expecting them to be done by Friday. So fingers crossed that is the case. And so we went ahead and scheduled our inspector for the new house, in Virginia. So we scheduled our third-party inspection that we're having done. And so I'm excited for that. In fact, that reminds me, I need to go ahead and sign the paperwork to get the guy to do that. And so that he can, do the inspection and hopefully tell us that our house looks great, and just kind of give us that comfort feeling of, you've had someone look at it who doesn't work for the construction company. So, And, again, I don't want to give you the wrong idea. I'm really happy with this construction company. They're a very reputable company, and they've taken really good care of us so far that I can tell. They've been great with communication, and they're very when we were like, well, we want to do a third party inspection. They were like, yeah, absolutely. Just let us know. We'll work to schedule it with your realtor. And it's, so I think it's a pretty usual thing that people want to have, pay for their own inspector to come in, but they have not been shady at all is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Trust, but verify. Absolutely, Bill. Absolutely. So, where in the Richmond area is your new digs? Bill, we are in the Richmond suburbs, and I'm not going to be any more specific than that, just because, for security reasons, because this is the internet, and I don't want someone coming to try to sell me their herpes cure at my house. It's bad enough that they try to sell me their herpes cure on my live stream. So, but yeah, Richmond, Virginia area. That's as specific as that I'm going to get. So, yeah, so that's what's going on with the house. And then yesterday was also, kind of a busy day. I might get a little serious. I had my first, I had a telehealth appointment with my with the VA. Well, he doesn't work for the VA. He works for a contractor that works for the VA. But I had a telehealth appointment for my VA evaluation. And we were talking about, talking about, it was basically like a mental health evaluation for, stuff. So, again, I don't want to be too specific out here, but I do want to be open and honest about, this whole process and this transition. And so, that was part of what they wanted to look at was, how am I doing? How have I coped with the stressors of military life and transition and stuff like that? And I feel good about the appointment. I think that, the doc was very supportive. And I think that, I felt very much like he was very validating of some of the concerns that I had that, as regards to things that I've experienced in my military career. And so, so obviously it's not up to him, but he was very, he was like, yeah, I'll document this stuff and I'll get it sent in today. So I'm hopeful that process will continue to go relatively smoothly, and hopefully I'll be able to have a claim decision at discharge, or, around the time of discharge, because that's the name of the program, or the process that I'm going through, is benefits delivery at discharge. So the idea is, before I get off active duty, they do all of these evaluations. I get seen for everything. And they establish the service connection and then evaluate my, my rating at that point, with the goal of, as soon as I go off active duty, my benefits kick in. So, so hopefully that's, hopefully that works as advertised. Again, I have to say, thank you. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. So far, the process has been very smooth, and everyone has been really helpful and, really willing to answer questions, very flexible with working around, ridiculous time zone issues and stuff. So, yeah, fingers crossed it continues to go well. But again, that's one of the things that, I kind of wanted to talk about on this channel, because in establishing this community and building this community of friends, that's one of the things that is obviously fairly central to my life, is this transition from military officer to writer, or, writer / EMS pilot, or whatever else it is I'm going to do. Yeah, see, that's exactly right. That's what we're not looking for. And I have to say, in, my husband's experience 12 years ago, his VA benefits were delayed by 7 months, which seemed like a really long time at the time. 17 years, that's crazy. That's, it's criminal. You shouldn't have to wait that long for what you have earned, and what the government has agreed is yours should be yours. Yeah, it is. I think that, I mean, the VA obviously had a lot of bad press relatively recently, within the last decade or so, and I think that I am hopeful that maybe that was a little bit of a catalyst for change, for trying to streamline things and stuff. One of the other things that I'm very interested in is, because I know the VA has a big push going on for more support for women veterans, because the largest demographic of veterans within the overall veteran demographic, the largest growing demographic is that of women, of female veterans, right? Which makes sense when you think about it, because more and more women have been coming in every year, since more career fields have opened up, and yada yada yada, all of those things. And so I am interested to see what types of like women's health support is available, and how that's all going to work. So we'll see. I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. But the other thing is that, strictly speaking about like medical benefits, one of the big comforts to me is that as a retiree, I will still have access to TRICARE. They call it for life, but really it's until I'm 65, and then it transitions over to Medicare. But so I kind of have a backup, right? Which I sort of arranged it that way, but I recognize that I am in a bit of a privileged position to be able to say that, not everyone is able to serve 20 years. Or, it just doesn't work for their life situation. It's not the best choice for them. So I recognize that I'm pretty fortunate that I was able to make the choices that I was able to make to set myself up this way. So, but that's, again, that's part of what I want to talk about. And that's part of what I want to be open and honest with you guys about this transition, about this journey, about all of these things that I'm going with, up until the point where you try to sell me your herpes medication. So, yeah, it's different. It is different. And I'm very grateful for, those and all of you in the chat who have gone through a similar process. And I'm grateful for your experiences, and I'm grateful for those of you who were able to be like, hey, this is kind of bullshit, right? Like, we need to do something to fix this. So, I am benefiting from your experience, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I hope that doesn't sound like smug or terrible or or anything like that. But yeah. So anyway, so that's what's going on the VA claim front. And then last night we Easy smoked a pork shoulder, which is one of my favorite things that he does. So it's not my favorite thing he does, but it's up there. And so got to have some delicious barbecue last night. We had some friends over and just kind of hung out. Yesterday was a beautiful day here, you guys. Like the weather was that absolute perfect late spring, like just a edge of heat. It was ideal. It was ideal. Yeah. That's really good advice, and I have done that. Thank you. Yeah, it's actually much easier now to get your medical records than it used to be. On the TRICARE online website, I was just able to go and download the whole thing to a CD. That being said, I had to check it because there were some things missing from when I had been referred off base in the past, and so I had to go and reach back to a previous base in order to get those records. But yeah, that's really good advice. So I think that's good advice for anyone, regardless of whether or not you're in the military. Certain things you should probably just have a record of, and your medical records are probably fall into that category. Yes, smoked pork is amazing. You guys, Nick Steverson's here in the chat, and everybody wish Nick a happy book birthday, because his third novel, right? Nick, correct me if I'm wrong. Third novel, Consequences, just came out today. So congratulations, Nick. Happy book birthday. And that actually is one of the things I want to talk about. So let's do this. I'm going to try it this way so that maybe. No, that's not what I wanted. No, hang on. All right, we'll go like this. Yeah. Space dragons. Nick's Nick's series. I don't know. Do you have a Nick? Put it in the chat if you have like a series within a series name, but it's part of the overall Coalition series, which is, you know, written in the Salvage title universe. The first one is Action. The second one is Hesitation. I might get those. I might have those reversed. And then the third one is Consequences. Actually, it's Hesitation, Action, and then Consequences. And you guys, it's space dragons. Like, if you know me at all, you know that I am an absolute sucker for dragons. So definitely go check this out. I haven't picked it up yet, but because I actually need to get the first two. But that's one of the things I'm going to do, like, as a reward for myself this weekend, is download the whole series and just binge the whole thing. So I think it would be super cool if we turned Nick orange. So, Shangal Trilogy, unofficial name, Shangal Trilogy. Correct me if I said that wrong, Nick. But yeah, like, do me a favor, spell it phonetically in the chat so that I don't screw it up too bad. Yeah, let's turn Nick orange. Go get Consequences today. Let's, let's get this boy a tag, you guys, because it'd be really fun. It'd be really fun to do that. So, so that was the first book. Sorry, we're still talking about pulled pork. Dragons and pulled pork. Shangal. I said it right. Yay. So it is. It's the Shangal Trilogy is the unofficial name within the overall Coalition series. Bill Smith already posted a review. Thank you, Bill. You guys, if you don't know, reviews on Amazon, so helpful. So helpful. Put your review in there. Be honest. Let us know what you thought. And it really does, like, with the whole Amazon algorithm, the more reviews we have, the more people, actually get to see our book. Oh, I'm getting a little notification that my connection is unstable. So bear with me, you guys, if I start acting like a robot. I'm not a robot, I promise. But yeah, reviews are super helpful. So, if you read something of ours, particularly for indie authors, the more reviews we get, the more people actually see our book, because of how the Amazon algorithm works. So, really appreciate it, when you guys can leave those reviews. Thank you, Beth. Thanks, Beth and Bill, and yeah, Shangal series. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's turn Nick orange. Go get the book, leave a review. Love it. Very excited about it. So that's one of two books that I'm actually really excited about this week. Oh, I did not know this. Congrats, guys. Fistful of Credits. So Fistful of Credits is the first anthology in the Four Horsemen universe series. And it features my story. It features a lot of stories, but my story is one of them in, let me back up. I have a story in A Fistful of Credits. It's called The Gilded Cage, and it's the very first, like, Depic story in the Four Horsemen universe that led to the whole Depic trilogy that Marisa Wolf and I wrote. And it dropped in Germany today, and apparently it's doing very well. So that's super exciting. So this is a big weekend for CKP. Yeah, and CKP and CKP International. That's outstanding. Nick, I'm going to show your comment to everyone so that everyone can see it. He says, thanks, everyone. I can't believe how well Consequences has done today. Insane. I got my highest overall Amazon ranking today. Yay! Yes. Yeah. Congrats, dude. Well deserved. So that's awesome. And Fistful of Credits is kicking major ass. Nice. Yeah. So far it seems to be going pretty well. So that's super exciting. I may have heard from a little birdie that the Psyche War Trilogy is in the queue to be translated. So, or not translate, be released in Germany. So hopefully that goes well. I hope. I mean, it's a World War II book, so we'll see. but honestly, I think it has a good chance of doing well. I like to think that I was fairly even-handed, and that even my German characters. I mean, hell, my entire second book is the main character is the protagonist is the German psychic. So my hope is that it will be well received. I don't know, we'll see. But that's so exciting to think about what a world we live in, man. Where we're we're self-publishing books and indie publishing books, and now they're going overseas, and people in Germany are reading our words. Like that just, it's a little mind-blowing. That's awesome. It's awesome. We really do live in the future. Bill says Fistful is number 581 overall, Bill, in the entire German Kindle store. That's awesome. That's super exciting. Ooh, okay, cool. Wow, that's great. Yeah, crazy world we live in. Crazy world we're living. There's another book I want to talk to you guys about too, that I'm very excited about. This is what I was trying to like upload earlier. Overall, insane. That's great. You're a genius, dude. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Congratulations, guys. Ghosts of Malta. Do me a favor, put a link in the chat so that people can check that out if they want. That sounds really interesting. So Ghosts of Malta, are you talking like, tell me a little bit about what it's about. Because that's super cool. Congrats on releasing your anthology today. I don't know if you guys know Mike Coopery. He is he's a Baen author. I know him, so I know Mike like well enough to say hi to. I don't know him very well, but I am super good friends with his wife Kathy, and his e-arc for Trouble Walked In dropped today. I don't know if you can. Let me see if that's there, and you can kind of see it a little bit bigger there. There you go. See how cool that cover is? Oh my gosh, I am super jealous. Because if you know me at all, you know that I have like a serious thing for serious thing for noir. And this story has noir all over it. And I didn't even know Mike was interested in noir. So I think I might be like, knocking on his door and be like, hey man, like you want to write a story for me? Because I do have one more anthology. But yeah, it's called Trouble Walked In. And I didn't, if I tried to put the full description, the full blurb on the slide, I found out in an earlier live stream that it ends up getting like too small and eye charty. But it's a sci-fi noir story, and the e-arc's available now from Baen.com, and it's got a sexy cover. And yeah, the tagline, I don't know if you can see that, but it says crime doesn't care what planet you're on. Like, oh, come on. It's so good. So yeah, go check. Highly recommend it. If space detectives and murder mysteries and kind of futuristic noir cityscapes are your thing, head over to Baen.com. It's, right there. You can either search for it or it should be right there they have like, new releases and then e-arcs. It should be right there in the e-arcs. Now, one note, if you don't know, an e-arc it means it's an early copy. It hasn't been through its final proofreading pass. So, there may be typos and stuff in there. But it's like $25 and you get an early copy. And yeah, it's worth it. It's highly worth it. So go check out Mike's book, and then it'll be out in hardcover in August, I think Kathy said. So pretty exciting stuff. So yeah, those are the two books that I wanted to cover today that I wanted to feature. And again, congrats to Nick. Congrats to the CKPI guys. Congrats to Old NFO on your anthology release. So yeah, he's done some work with Larry Correa. He and Larry are really good friends. And then he's got a couple of other books with Baen too. So yeah, Beth says explosions here. So that's a joke, an old joke among people who buy e-arcs, because I want to say it was one of John Ringo's Black Tide books, but he was writing a battle scene and he had, gotten to a certain point in it and was like, okay, big explosions here. He was in the flow of the story, and so didn't want to take the time to like break it down and do the like really in-depth description of what the explosion like looked like and felt like. So he just kept on going with the story, and I had missed it up to that point in the editing process. So in the e-arc it said, parentheses, big explosions here, and he went on. So you can maybe expect some surprises like that in an e-arc, but again, totally worth it. So, okay. So I asked for a description of the, what is it called? I'm sorry, man. The Malta thing. The Malta's anthology, the old NFO, just Ghosts of Malta. So this is the description that I asked for. Malta alchemists, saints, and heroes have all made their way to this place, defended its walls, and added to the ranks of ghosts and lore. It's also a land of courage, resilience, and grace under fire. 10 authors bring you tales of ghosts of Malta's past, present, and future. Open the pages and meet the ancient guardians, ghost cats, and interdimensional spies that will be your guide. Well, shit, that sounds right up my alley. Yeah. So anyway. So Beth says Ringo, yeah, for the big explosions here. But old NFO says it was Dave Weber before he got a CPAP. So I don't know, maybe it's happened more than once. It wouldn't surprise me. Like the bracket technique, a lot of authors use it, myself included. So when I'm writing, a lot of times, I'll be in the story and I'll be like, should I need the name for something? Like right now in my space opera that I'm working on, the characters they're taking a journey on what amounts to like, a cruise liner, right? I don't know the name of the cruise liner. I don't know the name of the ship. Right now, the name of the cruise line is like bracket Starline. And then the name of the ship is bracket ship. So in my EARCs, hopefully I will have figured out a name for that and we'll go back and put them in. But I get hung up on names, honestly. And so sometimes I just have to use a placeholder so that I can continue to stay in the flow of the story. And then I will come back and kind of figure out a name. Because if a name doesn't sound right or doesn't feel right, it'll just kind of it becomes like a roadblock for me. And I may have talked about this before, but I can show you guys now if you want. One of the things that I do, I don't know if you can see this, but is there going to be any spoilers? I don't think so. Okay. So this is my notes page, right? I will literally keep this notebook. Can you see that? There we go. I will literally keep this notebook next to right here on my desk, next to my keyboard. And so when I come to something like that, you can, this might be backwards too, by the way. Sorry about that if that's the case. But right here, you can see, oops, where is it? Oh gosh, it's backwards. All right. Right here, you can see name of starline, name of ship. Those are just notes that hey, you got to figure this out, So, and I found that to be a really useful technique, is because that way I don't forget that I have a placeholder, by writing it down here. So when I go, it'll probably be after the draft is done, when I do my author editing pass, I'll go through and I'll actually do a search for the two brackets and go through and be like, oh shit, okay, I need to name the ship. And so I'll search for every incidence of it saying ship and put in the name that I select. Bodie McBoatface. Sure, yeah, you can name your ship in your space opera Bodie McBoatface, Nick. In fact, if you don't, I think that you should buy me a 4-pack of Red Bull. So, cheers, bro. Yeah, so I call it the bracket technique. I don't know. It's just using a placeholder, but that's what that is. So, all right, awesome. Oh, you guys, I love chatting with you guys. It's so much fun. Let me go to the Discord. I know James Young had another ridiculous question, which I say it's ridiculous, but I don't think you will. Show me. Show me. So I'll bet you a beer at FactoryCon. How about that? All right. When it's in print and you can show me, I will buy you a beer. Let's go to the Discord and see if we've got any questions. So, okay, Nick. All right. Oz, you're very diplomatic. I also use that expression, although I usually say you don't have a hair on your ass. Discord questions. I don't see James. I hope he makes it, but if not, maybe he'll catch the replay. But James Young, who, again, if you don't know, brilliant alternate history author. I think he actually does some sci-fi too. And he is one of the editors, or he edited along with Chris Kennedy the Phases of Mars anthology trio, which I will put links to those works in the description below, on the replay of this. So if you were like, what was that she was talking about? If you go navigate to YouTube, you can find like the replay of this video. It'll be in the description box, right? But yeah, James Young did the Phases of Mars anthologies, which are 3 anthologies. One is naval themed, one is air warfare themed, and one is land warfare themed, that are alternate history anthologies. And I have stories in the first 2. Great anthologies. He got some really, really good stories for those. But anyway, James has been asking me this series of ridiculous questions, if you remember from last week. So this week's question is, you can insert any of your characters into any intellectual property. Who are you choosing, and why is it the psychic from Hiroshima? I mean, who is it and why? So again, if you didn't join us last week or you didn't catch the replay, James suggested that I write an additional trilogy in my Psyche War series that's set here in the Pacific Theater of Operations. And as he said that last week, it kind of sparked an idea of it might be cool to tell the story of dropping the atomic bomb on Hiroshima from the point of view of a psychic woman living in Hiroshima at the time who survives, right? It would be very dark. And I've got a lot of other things in the hopper first, but I have to be honest, it's kind of intriguing. So again, I'm getting the unstable internet, so bear with me if I start to fade out or whatever. So any of my characters into any intellectual property, man, I love all of my characters, right? Like even the ones I hate, I love. So I don't know. To be honest, though, what I think would be more like the chaos goblin inside of me really thinks it would be fun to drop like one of my Depic characters, like maybe Deluge, Choking Deluge from Assassin, and several of the Four Horsemen short stories from several of the anthologies. If I dropped Dell into like, oh gosh. Somebody brought up on Facebook who would win I think it was Facebook, who would win in a confrontation between a tree cat and a Depic. I don't know. Marisa answered it, and her answer was brilliant, because I think that there'd probably be like some posturing and then some like, oh, okay, that's what you do. This is what we do. Cool. Like we can work together, So yeah, maybe that would be it. Maybe I would take Dell and drop him into onto one of Honor Harrington's ships. So oh, this would be fun. Depic versus Jedi Sith. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Put Dell in New York City. Yeah, but he'd do it accidentally. Like he wouldn't mean to. He would just sort of, I mean, that's essentially what happened in Assassin with him, pairing up with Thela Financial. He's like, I don't need a bank. Like, I don't need a merc company. Why? I don't want these things. I just want to go do my hunting. He accidentally becomes a mogul. So, yeah. So, maybe that's it. Dell was a really cool character for a lot of reasons, but one of my favorite things about Dell is that he was just sort of, I mean, he too, he's a Depic, he's a cat, he's a chaos minion as well. He's just there for the kill, right? But he's also like kind of good-hearted and big and goofy at the same time. So just sort of like, I don't know, I'll just do the things, We'll just see how it works out. Whereas his sisters, particularly, are much more like, okay, I need to. They're much more strategists, and even his brother is, he's kind of like the behind the scenes strings puller. I'm going to work. I'm going to go undercover into this enemy den, and I'm going to take down their Dama. Whereas Dell's like, I'm just going to go do my job. We'll see. So he was a fun character. I enjoyed him. Maybe I'll try to do something else with him soon. Aaron in the Discord had an additional question. He says, question for tonight's chat. Cons and pros, what do you look for in a good con? Are you more mega con writer or smaller, focused, and intimate con? That's a really good question. And one of my favorite things to talk about. Yeah. 100%. So I guess this is what we're doing now. Conventions, right? One of my favorite things to talk about in the writing, writing world as a professional writer. I love conventions. They are all really fun to me because I'm an extrovert and I like to party. But the different conventions of different sizes have different purposes for writers, right? My absolute favorite convention of all time, bar none, is Dragon Con. I don't go to Dragon Con to sell books. I don't make money at Dragon Con directly. And if you're wanting to go to a convention in order, excuse me, I'm sorry, I had the hiccups. That's really embarrassing. If you're wanting to go to a convention to make money, Dragon Con is not a good choice for you. Number one, it's super fucking expensive to go. Number two, it's not the kind of convention where people end up buying a lot of books, right? I know people who do sell books there. Glenys LeBlanc, a good friend of mine, she has essentially a traveling bookstore that she takes to Dragon Con, and she makes a lot of money at Dragon Con every year. But she is able to afford like a large space in the dealer room where people come in. She has authors come in to do signings at her booth. And so she's able to drive the traffic to herself, and that's how she makes money. And she has a fairly large outlay of cash on the front end for that. So especially if you're an indie author trying to sell books, a large megacon like Dragon Con is probably not a good choice for you. Now, that being said, your mileage may vary. This is just my experience. Okay. What Dragon Con and large mega cons like that are really good for are two things. Well, three things. The first one is networking, meeting other authors, meeting publishers, not necessarily for the purposes of pitching with them, but just making that connection perhaps for a later pitch. Connecting with other authors, finding writing partners, doing brainstorming. I've done like live brainstorming, not intentionally, but just sort of worked out this way while in a panel with other authors. They come up with an idea. In fact, I wasn't at the convention that sparked this, but the book Battle Luna that came out last year before, I don't know. It came out relatively recently, that I was one of the authors on. I was one of 5 authors. That entire book came out of a panel that was at LibertyCon, which is a smaller con, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the whole thing, that was the genesis of that book, and it became a book. And Josh Hayes and I were invited to contribute stories to it, and we did, and it was great. So that's the first thing, is like networking and connections. The second thing that is, for sure. Lots of anthologies come out of cons, for sure. In fact, I will say that I can directly trace every writing contract that I have ever signed to my attendance at Dragon Con. Not like I was there and someone gave me a contract to sign, but all because of the connections that I made at Dragon Con. So, hey, Jonna, I'm so glad you're here. Jonna says only 2. Yeah, no, it happens all the time. It does. It happens all the time because you get writers and artists and creative people in one space, and they start talking and they talk about, their ideas, and it's really fertile brainstorming space, right? So number 1 is connections. Number 2 is really that, like, it's a recharge, to be able to brainstorm with other people in that environment. And then the third reason to go to a megacon like that is that it's just really fun. It's really fun, and it's an opportunity to connect with a wider audience, right? By sitting on panels, as a writer, or even just by, going to like the CKP Year Ahead or the Bain Roadshow and being identified as, hey, I'm someone who has a book coming out. And if you have the opportunity to tell people what your book is about, anytime you're interfacing with people, that's an opportunity to make a new fan, right? That's really the utility of going to like the really big cons, in my opinion, is those 3 things. smaller conventions kind of fall again, this is just my experience, kind of fall into two categories. There are the smaller conventions that are primarily attended by writers, so more like almost like symposia. And then there are smaller conventions that are the majority of the attendees are actual fans or not necessarily pros in the field. LibertyCon falls into the first category. The majority of people who actually go to LibertyCon are pros in the field of some kind. You are probably not going to sell a lot of books to other pros. Now, it does happen because writers like to read for sure. But it's not going to, that's not the primary purpose of, for you for going. Primary purpose to going to a small pro heavy convention like LibertyCon or LTUE is another great example because it's not even really a convention. It's like a symposium, right? Superstars is another great example. The primary purpose as a writer to go is number one, learning, and number two, networking. And those two kind of flip flop depending on where you're at in your career, right? You can get a masterclass in writing for nothing more than the fee of a convention, right? You can, the things that I have learned from going to panels, and sitting in on people's presentation about this is how I solve this problem in my work. This is how I do my plotting. This is how I address point of view. The things that you can learn are invaluable, simply, just by attending a convention. And then two, you also have the opportunity to network with other pros, even if it's not as target rich of an environment as or actually I am talking about pro cons, right? So it is a very target rich environment. You'll have the opportunity to interact with your peers, with people who are maybe a couple steps ahead of you in their career. And you can ask them, what's going on with them. Maybe you'll have the opportunity to set up a co-write, probably set up some anthologies, So it's the networking and the kind of professional development piece is the reason to go to smaller, like symposium type cons or really pro heavy cons. The third category are the smaller cons that are mostly attendees. And so in that category, I would put like MarsCon or, your local anime convention or, a lot of like your local conventions fit into this category. These are the cons that don't have a really heavy like literature track or sci-fi lit track. But if you can get on programming as an author and identify yourself as an author and, kind of shine as, as a panelist for people, be entertaining, be engaging, be charismatic, be fun, people will connect with you and then they will come and find you at Author's Alley or in the dealer room or wherever you're set up, and they will buy books. And so those are the cons that again, in my experience and from talking to people, those are the cons where you have the most potential of actually directly making money back. And again, a little bit of cash outlay on the front, because not only do you have to have your con membership, whatever that costs you, and pay for a room there, but unless it's local and you're just driving from your house, of course, but there's still costs, right? And then, but you also have to pay for table space or a dealer table or a dealer booth or Author's Alley space, whatever the cost is for that, however their costs are structured for that convention. And you also have to pay for your stock, right? Like you have to have the books there to sell. You can do ebooks by like having like a QR code generated that you can give out to people. I haven't really talked to anyone who's done like a lot of that, but I know that can that exists, and I've heard people say that's successful. I just haven't really dug into that. So that's something that I'm kind of thinking of doing because books are heavy and hard to transport. And I think but when people go to cons, though, the other thing is that they want to bring home souvenirs, right? And books are great souvenirs because you can go and you can revisit it over and over again. So you want to have that hard copy stock available to you when you do that. So great question, Erin. Yeah. The bottom line, as far as I'm concerned, is, if you're a writer and you want to include in-person conventions as part of your platform, think about what your goals are and choose your conventions based on what those goals are. Now, like I said, I'm never going to not go to Dragon Con, but I'm there for the party as much as anything else. And so if that's your goal, that's your goal, But if you want to make money, you probably want to look at doing some other, directly make money. You probably want to look at doing some other things too. So hopefully that wasn't too rambling and made sense. So that's it as far as questions from the Discord this week. You guys, thank you again for posting questions. And thank you for coming. And if you're not part of the Discord, again, there's a link. There'll be a link in the description of this video. Come join my newsletter. One of the first emails that you'll get once you've signed up for the newsletter will be a link, an invite link that should never expire, that will invite you to Discord. You can sign up. It's totally free. Come hang out with us. Come join in our conversations about, creativity, about writing. Come do writing sprints if you want. You can do sprints. You can do the writer sprints, but you don't have to write. Like, you can do other things. The beauty of sprints is just that it's a finite period of time where you take and you focus on one task for, that 20 minutes. And then at the end of it, you take a break and do something else. It works. That's really been a game changer for me as far as writing has been concerned. Whew. A lot of words. You guys got me talking so fast. But yeah, please come join the Discord. If you're not signed up for my newsletter, please sign up for my newsletter. I send out newsletters once a week. It shows up twice if you don't open it the first time. And every week I've got links to free promotional books or books or stories that you can check out that are in related genres to what I write. I've got featured links to, books that are coming out this week, and just updates about what's going on in my life and stuff. So it's just another way for me to connect with you, because I like you. You guys are my friends. I like this community. So I want to build it and keep it healthy and strong and just, yeah, I want to stay friends. So come join in so we can be friends. Let's talk about the channel. So this week coming out on, I believe, I don't know if it's Monday my time or Tuesday. I think it's Monday your time, Tuesday my time. Anyway, time has no meaning. It's a construct. Coming out early this coming week, I have a new video that talks about, it's the first one in a new series that I'm starting. The series is called Nurturing the Creative or Nurturing the Creative Animal. I've kind of used both accidentally. But the idea of the series is, what are the things that we do to keep our creativity strong, right? To help us to be able to create whatever it is we're creating, whether it's writing or art or, videos or blog content or sculpture, whatever, photography, you name it, whatever it is we're creating. How do we keep that creative fire lit? And the first video is one where I talk about self-care and the role of habits in maintaining my creativity. And I hope you like it. It was a fun video to shoot. I hope you, I mostly talk about like what works for me and what I've seen. But I'm really interested in what you guys have to say. So go check that out. Leave comments in that video. And, if you like the kind of stuff that I've got on my channel, please subscribe, and share it. Tell your friends about it. Bring them in. Bring everybody in. Come become one of us. So, oh, thanks, Jonna. Yeah, see, this is a good place, right? We want good people. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I hope that you have a fantastic weekend and a really good week ahead. And so we'll, one note, next week, and I'll put out an official announcement, but next week I will probably not have a live stream on Friday night because that's Saturday morning my time. And Alicia, my youngest, has a softball game in Yokosuka Saturday morning, right at the time when I would normally be doing my live stream. So I will either have a pre-recorded video go up around this time, or I might push the live stream to Sunday like I've done before. But stay tuned for more, pay attention to the socials for more details on that. So, all right, we'll see you guys later. Much love. Bye.